including his own men, referred to him. They had surnamed Epiphanes, which means, Epiphanes is God manifest. Epiphanes means the madman. But in history, this is what, and then his birth name was Mithridates. His birth name wasn't even Antiochus. His birth name was Mithridates. He changed his name to Antiochus Epiphanes, meaning God manifest. And the scriptures is going to move on. So I want you to read verses 21 through 24 quite clearly and fluidly, but at the same time very clearly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Verse 21. And in his estate shall stand out a vile person.
So Antiochus Epiphanes, he doesn't really succeed Seleucus, his brother. His brother is put to death. So Antiochus kills the person who kills his brother. Then Antiochus kills another one of his brothers. Basically, he's eliminating all of his father's other heirs. You know what I'm saying? So as to make himself, so to speak, crown prince. Continue.
Verse 21. And in his estate shall stand up a vile person, to whom they shall not give the honor of the kingdom. For he shall come in peaceably and obtain the kingdom by flatteries.
Now listen, it's talking about some of the works and deeds, what he would do. So it's talking about Antiochus. It said he would come in peaceably. We're going to read verses 21 through 24. Then we're going to start at 25 showing you chronologically what was this person's works. Because literally, this is really the rest of Daniel chapter 11. From verses 21 all the way to verse 39 is Antiochus Epiphanes, Antiochus the fourth. And this is the person that you read about in 1 Maccabees chapter 1. 1 Maccabees chapter 2. This is the person who Judas, first of all, the father, Mattathias, the father of Judas Maccabees, his brother Jonathan, his brother Simon. All of these cats were fighting Antiochus and his sons, Demetrius, Alexander Bayless, and all these different cats. All right. You want to read verse 22?
Yeah.
Go ahead. You already read verse 21. Verse 21. You're going to read all the way through to the end of verse 24. Go ahead.
22. And with the arms of a flood shall they be overflown from before him, and shall be broken. Yea, also the prince of the covenant.
All it's talking about is him coming in and establishing his preeminence in Israel. When it said the prince of the covenant, it's alluding. We ain't going into detail here. It's alluding what works with him. So he was the one who began the campaign of Hellenizing the Jews. In other words, of bringing our forefathers under Greek culture, under Greek religion, philosophy, under Greek idolatry. All right, that's what this dude was about. Go ahead.
Verse 23. And after the league made with him, he shall work deceitfully.
When it says the league made with Antiochus Epiphanes, we'll read about that. Antiochus didn't do anything but continue. Let me think, because I have it written down. He continued the politic or the policy exercised by Alexander the Great, by Seleucus Nicator. Seleucus the first, Nicator, like you saw the father of the Seleucid line. Alexander the Great, the Greek conqueror, his top general, Seleucus I, whose surname was Nicator, and then Antiochus the Great, Antiochus Epiphanes' own father. They all had treaties with Israel. So when it says, what verse was that you read?
22.
Read it again.
And with the arms of a flood.
Oh, I thought you just read verse 23. Go read verse 22.
Verse 22. And with the arms of a flood shall they be overflown from before him.
Yeah, go ahead.
And shall be broken. Yea, also the prince of the covenant.
Yeah, you read verse. You gotta stay where you're at, okay?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Verse 23. And after the league made with him.
And after the league is talking about a continuance of the policy that the Greeks and their successors had toward the Jews that began with Alexander's entrance into Jerusalem. Now let me say this. I'm going to give you these three sources. You guys got to read them. You can read about this league, all right, in Josephus' Antiquities book 11, chapter 8, and verse 5. That one tells you about the treaty and the policies that Alexander the Great himself exercised with the Jews, with our forefathers. Then we move on to the same source, Josephus, Antiquities, book 12, chapter 3, and and paragraph 1, it tells you Seleucus Nicator. Remember the father of the Seleucid line, the father of the kingdom of the north. Alright? He continued the policy that was extended by Alexander the Great. Then, when you read the same source, Josephus, Antiquities, book 12, chapter 3, paragraph 3 and 4, it lets you know that Antiochus the Great, Antiochus the Third, or the Great, Antiochus' mate, he continued. So farther down, remember, it was Seleucus the Fourth who was put in a position to have to tax Israel. Then Antiochus adopted what Seleucus had adopted. Seleucus had inherited this war indemnity. Antiochus went all the way to the end. In other words, he literally was putting hell in Israel. It wasn't about, what can I say? It wasn't about the war indemnity that was owed to Rome. It was about breaking the Israelites of their culture. It was about breaking the will of the Israelites. It was about getting them, like the scriptures tell you, to the end that they will forget the laws. But here we are today in that position, the majority of our people. So those are the sources, because they're too much of me to read and to keep it, to keep this series, this episode of Daniel chapter 11. I'm gonna say in a decent, within a decent time frame. Anything beyond probably 30. We got other topics on YouTube that are like 30 or 36, which is like 5 and 6 hours. But some of those topics need that. This one is not so much a topic that we have to expound or do all the reading for you. I'm breaking it down for you, and I'm sending you to the sources so that you can verify that what I'm sharing with you is the truth, historically speaking. Alright? What verse do you have, brother? 23. Okay, read verse 23 again. And after the league made with him, he shall work deceitfully. For he shall come up and shall become strong with a small people. In other words, like I said, it's alluding to what he would do once he got into power. Go ahead. Verse 24. He shall enter peaceably, even upon the fastest places of the province. This is verse 24? Yeah. This is what he did once he got power and actually was coming into Israel. Don't worry, let me say this. From verse 25 on to verse 39, I'm going to give it to you detail for detail. But that's what verse 21 through 24 is. It's a brief summary beforehand, what he would do once he went into effect. So him coming into effect is really going to begin with verse 25. Go ahead. Verse 24. He shall enter peaceably, even upon the fattest places of the province. Right. And he shall do that which his fathers have not done. Now, what verse is that? Verse 24. Verse 24, he shall do what his fathers have not done. In other words, he's going to break treaties with Israel. And this is the one, like I explained, he was the one who his attempt, his whole endeavor was to breaking the iron will of Israel and bringing them under Greek philosophy. Hellenizing the people. Like today, the so-called white man is trying to, what do you call it? Westernize or Americanize the Afghans. He's trying to westernize and Americanize bring democracy to Iraq. That's what the Greeks were doing to us. Hell, in the same region for the most part. In the same region, the Middle East. Go ahead. Nor his father's fathers. Read it from that precept again. Okay, verse 24. He shall enter peaceably, even upon the fattest places of the province. We're going to read this in 1 Maccabees chapter 1. Go ahead. And he shall do that which his fathers have not done. Go ahead. Nor his father's fathers. Continue. He shall. Well, it says father, meaning going all the way back to Nicator, going all the way back to Seleucus Nicator, the first of his family line, the first predecessor. Go ahead.